Afraid of being lonely, but you already are. Terrified things might change, but they already have. Scared you'll lose them, but they're already gone. Living in fear of futures that have already become your present reality. The relationship you're afraid might end? Look closer. It ended months ago. You're both just still showing up to the same address. The path you're terrified of leaving? You left it the day you stopped believing in it. Now you're just haunting a life you already left. The dream you're scared won't happen? It already didn't. You're just still carrying its remains. We spend so much life force fighting to prevent what's already occurred, protecting ourselves from pain we're already in, avoiding truths that have already moved into our bones. The fear of what might happen blinds us to what has happened. Your body knows. It's been trying to tell you through that constant exhaustion, through the heaviness that arrives before another day of pretending, through the way your stomach clenches when their name appears on your phone, through the weight that won't lift no matter how much you sleep. Your body has been living in the truth your mind won't admit. They haven't touched you with presence in months, but you're afraid they'll leave. The life hasn't moved you in years, but you're afraid of the unknown. The friendship has been one-sided since you can't remember when, but you're afraid of being alone, as if you aren't already experiencing the very thing you're afraid of. This is the cruelest trick fear plays, making us protect what's already gone, making us fight for relationships that exist only in memory, versions of ourselves we've already outgrown, lives that stopped fitting years ago. You're afraid to admit the truth because you think admission makes it real, but it's already real. Admission just makes it visible, and visibility is where healing begins. The most powerful thing you can do when you feel powerless is admit what's already true. Not what you wish were true, not what used to be true, not what should be true. What is actually already undeniably true. I don't love them anymore. The words you've been swallowing for years. They taste like betrayal, but land like relief, because your body has been carrying the weight of that unspoken truth, and bodies aren't meant to carry lies. This isn't working. 4 syllables that could change everything. That could free you from the elaborate performance of pretending, from the exhaustion of maintaining an illusion everyone can see through except you. I'm not happy. The simplest truth and the hardest admission. The one that brings everything else into focus. The one that makes all the distractions suddenly transparent as the avoidance it's always been. You know what needs admitting. It's the thought that arrives before consciousness every morning. The knowledge that sits heavy in your chest. The truth you talk around, but never directly at. The reality you've decorated with explanations and justifications, and it's complicated when it's actually quite simple. But we've been taught that admitting defeat means being defeated. That acknowledging an ending means failure. That speaking the truth about what's already broken means we're the ones who broke it. So we pretend, we perform, we persist in illusions that everyone else has already seen through. Your friends likely know your relationship is over. Your family knows you're exhausted. Your body knows you've been living out of alignment. Everyone knows except the part of you that thinks not admitting it means it isn't true. Here's what changes when you finally admit what's already true. Nothing and everything. The facts don't change. They're already facts. But your relationship to them transforms. the energy you've been spending on denial becomes available for response. The strength you've been using to hold up illusions becomes available for building something real. I already am lonely. And suddenly, the fear of loneliness loses its power because you realize you've been surviving the very thing you were afraid of. You're already in it, handling it, stronger than you knew. It already changed. And suddenly, you can stop wasting energy trying to preserve what's gone. Stop fighting to maintain what's already altered. Stop pretending yesterday still exists when you're already living in tomorrow. They're already gone. And suddenly, you can grieve instead of grip, can mourn instead of manage, can let go instead of hold on, can begin instead of suspend yourself in an ending that won't complete. The admission doesn't create the truth, it reveals it. And in the revelation, something shifts. The powerlessness you've been feeling wasn't from the situation. It was from the resistance, from the exhausting effort of fighting reality, from the impossible task of preventing what's already occurred. When you admit what's true, you stop being at war with what is. And when you stop being at war with what is, you have energy for what could be. But not until. Not until you stop defending against the truth that's already living in your house. Something in you is ready to say what you already know. Not because anyone needs to hear it, because you need to say it. Because truth spoken has different power than truth hidden. Because admission is the beginning of action. Unspoken truths don't disappear. They intensify in the dark. They grow in the silence of denial. They become the constant background noise that exhausts you without reason. You're not tired from your life. You're tired from resisting the truth about your life. From the constant effort of maintaining a story that stopped being true chapters ago. From the performance of being okay when you're not, happy when you're not, fine when you're not. I'm not okay. The words land and shoulders drop. Breath deepens. Something clenched finally releases. Not because anything changed, but because you stopped pretending it hadn't. The truth you've been avoiding isn't your enemy, it's your liberation. The reality you've been denying isn't the problem. The denial is. What's already true doesn't need your permission to be true. It just needs your acknowledgement to be workable. There's a reason your chest tightens when you approach it. A reason your breath goes shallow. The body knows what the mouth won't say. Your life is waiting for you to admit what's true about it. Your body is waiting for you to stop making it carry lies. Your future is waiting for you to stop being anchored to illusions about your present. The relationship is over. The path has cost you more than it's given. The dream isn't coming. You're exhausted. You're lonely. You're lost. You're done. Whatever it is, it already is. Your admission doesn't make it true. It makes it speakable. And speakable makes it survivable. And survivable makes it transformable. This is the alchemy of honesty. What you can name, you can change. The pretending is exhausting you more than the truth ever could. Every day you maintain the lie, you leak life force. Every moment you perform the illusion, you pay with your attention, your breath, your presence. The cost of denial isn't just energy, it's existence itself. You're spending your life avoiding your life. Body keeps a ledger of every lie you tell it. Every time you say, I'm fine, when you're falling apart. Every time you smile when you want to scream. Every time you stay when every cell says leave. The body records it all. And eventually, it presents the bill. The mysterious illness, the chronic pain, the anxiety that won't respond to logic. Your body is trying to tell the truth your mouth won't speak. The conversation you keep postponing? Every day you don't have it is another day you both die a little. Because they know too. They feel the truth you won't speak. They're waiting for you to finally say what's been obvious for months. The waiting is worse than the words would be. We think the truth will destroy everything. But the truth isn't what destroys, it's what clarifies. It doesn't end things. It ends the pretense about things. It doesn't kill relationships. It kills the illusions that were preventing real relationship. The admission you're avoiding isn't your enemy. It's your liberator. The moment you say, "This isn't working," you stop wasting energy making it appear to work. The moment you admit, "I'm lost," you can finally ask for directions. The moment you acknowledge, "I don't love you anymore," you both can stop performing love and maybe find something real. Your friends see you drowning while insisting you're swimming. They watch you fade while maintaining you're fine. They want to help, but you won't admit you need it. So they watch. They wait. They witness your slow dissolution into the lie you're living. And there's nothing they can do because you won't name what's happening. You won't give them permission to reach for you by admitting you're going under. The truth you won't tell is shaping everything. The way you hold your shoulders, braced against reality. The way you breathe, shallow so you don't feel too much. The way you sleep, restless because lies don't rest. Your entire body is organized around avoiding admission. There's a moment where the stopping just happens. Pretending drops. The performance ends. The marriage is allowed to be what it is. The life is allowed to be what it is. The happiness is allowed to be absent. Not dramatic, not explosive, just visible. I don't want to live like this anymore. 8 words that could change everything. Not because they're powerful, but because they're true. And truth has its own physics, its own gravity, its own inevitable trajectory toward resolution. The space between what's true and what you're pretending is where all your energy goes. It's the gap that exhausts you, the split that depletes you. You're not tired from your life, you're tired from maintaining 2 lives, the real one and the performed one. The gap between them is draining everything. You've become addicted to complexity because simplicity would reveal the truth. It's complicated has become your mantra, but it's not complicated. You're unhappy. They don't love you. The path doesn't fit. Simple truths dressed in complex explanations to make them bearable. You create elaborate narratives to avoid 3-word sentences that would change everything. Watch yourself in conversation. How you dance around what you really mean. How you use 10 sentences to avoid one truth. Things have been challenging instead of, "I'm miserable." We're working through some stuff instead of, "It's over." The euphemisms are exhausting. You're having entire conversations without ever telling the truth, wondering why you feel so alone even when surrounded by people. But everyone can hear what you're not saying. The truth you're avoiding is louder than the words you're using. It screams through your careful sentences. It bleeds through your rehearsed responses. The unsaid is deafening to everyone but you. The truth has a quality that lies don't. A weight, a resonance. When you finally admit what's true, people often say, "I knew." Not because you told them, but because truth recognizes truth. They were just waiting for you to catch up to what everyone else could already see. Admission isn't the beginning of loss. It's the beginning of recovery. The moment you admit, "This ended months ago," you can start to heal from an ending that's been suspended in denial. The moment you admit, "I've been pretending," you can stop the performance that's been draining you dry. The relationship you're trying to save, it can't be saved because it no longer exists in the form you're defending. The energy you're spending on preservation could be spent on grieving and moving forward. But that would require admitting there's something to grieve. You're living in the gap between what happened and what you're telling yourself happened. That gap is where your life force disappears. The worst part about refusing to admit what's true, you can't receive help for a problem you won't acknowledge. Can't get support for a struggle you won't name. You're drowning while insisting you're swimming, then wondering why no one throws you a rope. The help is there. The hands are reaching. But you keep batting them away with, "I'm fine," while water fills your lungs. The admission doesn't have to be public. It starts with yourself. In the privacy of your own mind, without editing, without softening, without excuse. What is actually true? The explanations stripped away, the contexts removed, the "but you have to understand" set aside. What remains? That's your starting point. That's your ground zero. That's where reconstruction begins. Admission isn't just about ending what's false. It's about beginning what's true. Every truth you admit creates space for something real to grow. Every lie you release makes room for something authentic to emerge. The void you're afraid of creating isn't empty. It's fertile. It's waiting. It's where the next version of your life takes root. You're so afraid of the void that admission might create, you don't realize you're already living in one. The void of pretense, the void of performance, the void of a life that looks full but feels empty. At least the void of truth is honest. At least the emptiness of admission is real. The truth you're avoiding is the medicine you need. Yes, it might taste bitter. Yes, it might hurt going down. Yes, it might make things harder before they get easier. But the avoidance isn't protecting you. It's preventing your recovery. You know that moment right before sleep when all your defenses are down and the truth slips through? That 3-second window where you can't pretend anymore. That's your soul trying to save you. That's reality breaking through the fiction. That's the truth refusing to be silenced, even though you've spent all day silencing it. And you know that jolt of panic when truth breaks through? That's not fear of the truth. It's fear of how long you've been denying it. Fear of how much life you've wasted in pretense. The panic isn't about what's true. It's about the cost of denying it. But that cost is already paid. Whether you admit it or not, you've already paid for the denial in exhaustion, in anxiety, in the slow erosion of your authentic self. Admission doesn't create the cost. It ends the accumulation. It stops the bleeding. It begins the healing that denial has been preventing. Some part of you is waiting for permission to tell the truth. For someone to say it's okay to admit what's real. But permission isn't coming from outside. The conditions will never be perfect. The only person who can authorize your truth is you. And the truth? The truth is patient. It will wait for you. It waited while you built elaborate structures to avoid it. It waited while you convinced yourself and others of an alternate reality. It's waiting, ready to be acknowledged whenever you're ready to acknowledge it. The The truth doesn't need you to believe in it. It doesn't need you to like it. It doesn't even need you to admit it. It just is. It will keep being true whether you acknowledge it or not. It will keep living in your body whether you speak it or not. It will keep shaping your life whether you face it or not. But your life needs you to admit it. Your soul needs you to admit it. Your future needs you to admit it. Because nothing new can be built on a foundation of lies, and something new is waiting to be built. What truth have you been carrying that's heavier than speaking it would ever be?